My vault is screaming for help. I have not touched it since Edge of Fate, and I just keep shoving tier 5 armor into it. I know a lot of you are about to be in a similar boat as well. We're not getting any changes to the vault system, it seems like, until Renegades at least. So I know a lot of people are going to need help like me. So I'm going to show you an awesome tool later in this video that's going to help you parse down your vaults. And then I'm going to show you my approach to looking at my vault, having not touched it since pre-Edge of Fate. If you enjoy this and you want more build crafting videos or this sort of thing, make sure to subscribe. I'll have some guides linked down below to help you out with like picking your build and knowing what armor to farm and that sort of stuff. This is a mess. The first thing I'm absolutely going to spend a little bit doing is deleting all of my pre-Edge of Fate exotic armor that isn't absolutely absurd. So, I mean, stuff like this, like, I can easily get a better exotic than that. It's going away. The only exotics that I'm going to keep in terms of armor are things that are masterworked, just because currently I am pretty much full on materials, and I don't want to dismantle masterworked exotics because then I'm just throwing away ascended shards. So I'm going to wait and masterwork some of my current gear. That way I'm not just throwing away materials. But as I look at my vault, there's plenty, and ignore the weapons. That's a whole different situation I'm going to take care of eventually. But I have plenty of things in my vault, like a 64 total skull fort. Like, when am I ever going to use that? A 70 Nezarec Sin with class ability. Like, when am I going to use that? So I'm going to go through and I'm going to get rid of some of that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I mean, that alone saved me like 45 or 50 armor slots here in the vault. Everything that's left are essentially ascendant shards that I'm hoarding. Or exotics that are actually pretty good, that have already been, you know, like I've already gotten them through the new armor system, and a bunch of exotic class items, which I hope Bungie does something about in Renegades. That would be very nice. So, step 1, address your old exotic armor. Step 2, I'm going to get rid of pretty much all my armor 2.0 that isn't just absolutely juiced in weapons and super specifically. You are able to get most rolls that you can, like, there are very, 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 very limited selections of armor 2.0 that you can get that tier 5 armor 3.0 doesn't do. And so as far as I'm concerned, as long as I'm not already using it like in a build and it's not like 28 weapon super, I'm just gonna get rid of it. So I did a lot of farming pre-Edge of Fate, and I have stuff like this that's like cool, but useless now. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. Bam. I have stuff like this, a bunch of grenade. Like, that would be fine for PvP, but now you can farm a lot of that stuff. I like to keep white armor for little challenges that we do for like charity incentives and stuff. So like this, 30 melee, 29 weapons. Now, this is actually pretty goated. And I might go ahead and hang on to this just in case there is a fringe chance that there's ever a melee build that is absolutely cracked for DPS. This is kind of copium. In reality, I can probably delete that. But if I look at like this, like grenade weapons for Titan, I can literally mimic this right now with a tier 5. If I just go ahead and get a tier 5 gunner piece of armor, that comes with 30 weapons and 25 grenade, and then with a spec tuning slot, I'll also be able to get that to 30-30, and then I'll also have some sort of stat. My tertiary will be at 20. So this is kind of just a throw, and it was copium for before the day 1, but it's not actually helpful. And that's where most of my 2.0 armor is going to fall. And like I said, unless it is like very, very specific warlock armor, I'm just not going to care about it. This was fun because you can't get that anymore. Like 26 melee, 24 weapons, literally useless. Just taking up slots in my vault here. And so I'm just going to go through and clear out some of that, and then I will be right back again. So we're down now almost 80 slots in this video. That's not even including stuff in my inventory, which I'm sure still exists. Like I have a 2.0 there. That's pretty good. I use that in a damage swap. Oh, that's a grenade, actually. I can probably get rid of that. This is for PvP, but I don't even think my PvP build uses that. So it's like Goodbye. This is a tier 3. I can obviously get rid of that. I'm actually going to infuse it. So just by going through and getting rid of stuff that is like objectively worse than armor 3.0, I have now saved 75 to 80 slots. Now, this tool I'm going to show you here is going to make your farming life a lot easier. It's going to save you a lot of time tracking things, and it's also going to save you space. The folks over at Destiny Trials Report made this awesome tool, which of course I'll have linked down in the pinned comment down below. But essentially, this is an amazing tracker of all 3.0 armor that you have. I would love a feature where I could mark these if I was farming for specific pieces of armor for a specific build. But for now, this is really awesome. You can see I have not touched my Titan yet, working on it. But if I go down to like my Warlock here, you can see, sorry, I'm trying to make it so you can see it without me being in the way. It either breaks it down based off of archetypes. So like this is all of my Gunner, and this is all my Grenadier, and this is all my Paragon. I actually prefer armor piece. That's just how I track it. So now for my helmet, you can see my archetypes and then the tertiary stats that I have for those archetypes. So in my helmet slot, I have a Gunner piece with a super tertiary, a melee tertiary, and a health tertiary. And so this is really awesome because it also shows you dupes. And not only does it show you dupes, it shows you their tuning so you can make the best decision for what you want to get rid of. So specifically, you can see I have Brawler arms with a weapons tertiary. I have 2 of these, one with a melee focus and one with a health focus. Well, if I'm ever using weapons, it's not going to be in PvP. Which means I don't need that health tertiary. So I can click on this to get the dim code. I can go over to dim, paste it right here, and it shows me my 2 dupes. And now I just find the one with the, this one right here has the health tuner. And so you can see it always makes my health go up. Obviously, I'm not going to want that because there's not really an instance where I personally want both health and weapons. I want weapons in PvE with as little health as possible. And in PvP, I want as much health as possible between like 160 and 190 and as little weapons as possible. So for me, those are kind of the inverse stats. There's not really a time where I'm going to want to maximize or literally have any of both. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. And that's going to save me a vault spot, all because of this really cool website. And I can do that a couple more times. You can see I have a duplicate of Paragon chest piece with a class tertiary. You can see I have a super and a melee. Generally, if I'm on a Paragon set, I'm probably going to want as much super as possible. So I would personally keep the super tertiary in that case. But that's going to be personal preference for sure. So this is the melee tertiary. So I just copy it over. Gets dragged. This has the melee tertiary. I'll just get rid of it. So that's a really awesome tool. Like I said, the only thing I would add to it is I wish there was a way to be like, okay, based off of my previous videos, the way I go across about this is I determine my stats, I plug it into a calculator, I find the archetypes I want, and then I'll be like, oh, I would really like to track these specific archetypes. I would love a way to like checklist that. But for now, this is pretty freaking good. So this is the latest tool that's going to help you save a lot of time and a lot of space. And then other things that you can consider, for instance, like what archetypes do you actually need to save? So right now I'm getting any non-duplicate tier 3 or tier 5 and just throwing it into the vault. But in reality, if I already have my PvP sets on my Warlock, Titan, and Hunter, then I probably don't need any more armor with health in it. Which means anytime I get a bulwark, is that health? Yeah, anytime I get a bulwark armor piece, as long as I have my 3 sets made and I know they're on my character, I'm just going to delete it from now on. Same thing with specialist. Like, there's not really an instance I really care about specialist, unless it's like for very specific builds. But in what world do you want a billion class ability? Like you don't really ever really, like I never really want to go above 75, maybe 100, but it's not going to make that big of a difference. But as far as I'm concerned, once your PvP sets are made, health or your bulwark sets, you can just delete them. Like anything extra you get. Your specialist sets, I don't know really why you would, like I have so many here that I could like honestly go through and delete. And I could save 1, 4, 8, 11 armor slots just by deleting those on, well, I mean, even more if I do both my characters. So that's kind of my mentality going into this. I mean, right now, the big stats that you pretty much always want, weapons super, both very good, and then whatever like your build is. So if I'm on Lightning Surge, I definitely want a ton of melee. If I'm doing like an Ashen Wake build or like a Starfire build, like I definitely want a lot of grenade. But there's not really an instance where I'm like, yeah, give me 185 class, you know what I mean? So that's just kind of my approach to this. I think I'm gonna do a video going like more in depth with all of the stats and kind of give my overall thoughts and where I think you should stay depending on the build. But that's a video that'll take a little bit more time. This was just a quick video on how to save upwards of like 100 armor slots in your vault, because you're probably gonna need it for the next few months because it's about to be raining tier 5s with Ash and Iron. So stay smart with what you keep. Have a fantastic day. If you found this useful, make sure to subscribe. I love your faces, and I'll see you very soon.